Happy Sunday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. I want to welcome everyone to our webinar. And of course, the special welcome to the new people. And for you, just two words about the webinar, and it's pretty much covered in the title, your weekly trading plan. And as I always like to quote some traders, as they say, you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. And again, it doesn't guarantee success, but definitely remove the aspect of spontaneous trading and unprepared trading, which is always a better way of doing things. A few things about myself. This is me, Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I've been trading for over 23 years, involved with markets. I've done proprietary trading for about 11 years. That's intense day trading, if you know what it is. And after that, I moved into a less stressful way of trading and also mentoring and educating other traders. And I'm very happy I have an opportunity to assist our customers at AvaTrade. The agenda, it's very simple. As usual, we talk about indices, we talk about stocks, commodities, forex, and we also talk a little bit about the big picture, some fundamentals. We cover a little bit of economic calendar just to prepare ourselves for the week. Risk warning, of course, anything we do here is purely educational. You can find full statement at avatrade.com. Now, our channels, I highly recommend that you visit and subscribe. You have Telegram, you have Twitter. Without the bird, I keep on saying it. I think it will take me a few weeks to get over it. And you have a YouTube channel, which is an amazing source of educational tutorials. You have webinars, including this one, being posted on a regular basis. So if you ever miss the live webinar, you can always find it posted on the YouTube. Please subscribe, click on the bell. You'll be notified for new things coming. And of course, it would be great to hear your feedback. Share it with your friends if you think it's useful. That would be great. Okay, so a few things about the markets in general. We had a negative week for equities. All three U.S. indices were down for more than 2%. We'll go into more details when we get there. Now, this is the article. You can find it at marketwatch.com. And some analysts are saying that, as it says here, the title, this bull market isn't finished yet by stock, but stocks could lose up to 10% from here. Okay, so you can read the article, and I mean, it sounds like, okay, we're doing great, but meanwhile, we might be selling further down. China, as we speak every week pretty much about China, there's a big issue with real estate developers. One just filed, I think it's Chapter 15 in New York. Things are not that great, and the government is trying to really inject things into the economy to save it. So we'll take a look at the index in the moment and things that are affected by it as well. Economic calendar, again, few words, especially for new people. Economic calendar is an important thing to follow. Again, as I always say, even if you knew ahead of time the numbers that are coming out, it's really hard to predict exactly what the market will be doing. So it's not our job to predict things. Our job is to analyze and make intelligent decisions, I guess. So here I take out the high impact events only. There are more, of course. You can find economic calendar on our website or AvaGo app or any third party. It's public information. It should be the same everywhere. And it's good to know that certain things are coming out at certain times, so you wouldn't be surprised when you see the market spiking up or down, or out of nowhere there's some moves. Okay, so few things again with the high impact for the upcoming week. We have Tuesday, we have retail sales from New Zealand. Wednesday, we have PMI numbers from Germany, and then PMI numbers from European Union. We have PMI also from UK and PMI from US. So a lot of PMI numbers on Wednesday. Thursday, actually, there's a symposium that happens once a year, Jackson Hole Symposium, where they talk about the economy and everything else. So it starts on Thursday, finishes on Saturday, and looks like the Powell has a speech on Friday. So this is something to watch. So again, symposium starts on Thursday. We have inflation of CPI numbers from Japan on the same day. Friday, it's continuation of that symposium, and Saturday as well. So just so I wouldn't miss it. There are two things important for this week. That's the speech of the Fed Chair Powell. That's on Friday, and we still have earnings coming out. And this week on Wednesday after the market, it's going to be earning reports from Nvidia. And as we know, Nvidia was running the market up with the AI boom, as Nvidia is producer of those chips, highly needed, highly powerful chips that are needed in artificial intelligence technology. So it's very important to see how the earnings are, and we might continue going higher. If we have disappointing news from Nvidia, it would actually add to the gravity of the equity market. We might continue slowing or moving lower. Okay, so these are the things to expect in the upcoming week. Okay, so what we do now, we'll move to the MT4 platform, and let's start with China. Actually, as we said, things are not so great, and if you can take a look at the chart is reflecting it. So since we retested the 13,300, the number that we've been talking for a while, we just continued lower, and it looks like Friday we bounced off this level here. I marked 12,460, and take a look. A few times we were really playing with this level. We built support around this level back in June. Then we were up and down, and then we had a nice support holding for about a week, and that's mid-July. And then from there, we actually had the nice move to the upside to make a higher high. So we came right back, and we did close above that level again. So 12,722 was the high, 12,432 was the low, and we closed at 12,470, which is about 10 points above this level. So definitely we'll be watching. And as you know, when I talk about China, I always bring oil, copper, and two currencies they're called commodity currencies. That's the Australian and New Zealand dollar. So let's take a look really quick. Oil already reacted to the downside in the past 2 days. It was a bounce to the upside again. So, and here, as I mentioned, I think I mentioned it, this is something to pay attention. A lot of analysts, the ones that you hear on financial broadcasting sites and TV and so on, they pay attention to these things, and they call it, in this case, a golden cross. That's when the 50 moving average is crossing above the 200. It's a bullish sign. So I don't know if you heard about it, if you will hear about it, but they like to bring it up on the financial news. So in a way, it's been a while since we crossed to the downside here. That called a dead cross when the opposite happens, when the 50 moving average crossing below the 200, and that was a year ago exactly, 1 week less. Okay, so it took a year, and then we crossed above. So it could be a bullish sign here. I mean, like I said, some analysts and chartists are paying attention to this, and it triggers some technical buys. So maybe that's why we're bouncing here. So let's pay attention to that. Now, Australian and New Zealand dollar, let's take a look really quick. They've been selling, of course, partially it's to China because of China, and of course, partially a big part of it of the strength of the US dollar lately. So both of them are selling. They've been in red for a while. Okay, so that's as far as China. Let's take a look at US indices. As I mentioned, all of them finished the week down over 2%. It's a strong sell-off on Dow Jones. Friday, actually, it was a weekday, but in the second half of the day on the New York Times, we had a bounce on all the indices. So this is Dow Jones. As you see, we are on the daily chart right in the middle between the 50 and 100 moving average. S&P 500 sitting right on 100 moving average. It was support for a while, then we broke below the 50 again. We are at 100 moving average. And also take a look at this level, approximately here around 43.70, 43.75. We started the move up after this correction here. So it could be scenario one also, because it's also being supported by 100 moving average. It could be that we might hold here and even reverse to the upside. It's a strong level here, and it's also 100 moving average over here. So let's see how this week starts. And as I mentioned to you, two strong events. We have the speech of Powell that's happening towards the end of the week, and we have Wednesday after the market, Nvidia stock is reporting the earnings. Of course, it's going to be affecting Nasdaq mostly, but all the indices will be affected as well. And here comes the Nasdaq. Similar picture. We are sitting also on a 100 moving average, and we are below the similar support here. So Nasdaq is weaker here. As you could see, we had three consecutive large losing days here, and then we would have the fourth one. But as I mentioned, the last couple of hours, we actually had a little bit of recovery, and that makes sense if you understand things. Friday, especially after a strong sell-off week, 2% or more than 2% to the downside, definitely it was profit taking happening, and that partially why that recovery took place towards the end of Friday. Okay, so that's Nasdaq. So we did have a sell-off on the US indices. Let's take a look at DAX. Here's DAX. And on DAX, we also retesting the previous support around here. And we also had the recovery towards the end of the day. So let's see how this week starts for DAX. We have some numbers coming on economic calendar, as we mentioned. UK, here you go. We came to retest this recent support, and we also bounced towards the end of the day. So again, we established that the indices had a pretty strong sell-off week. Friday towards the end of the day was some profit taking, and let's see how this week starts. We see that the support is holding, and we will try to go into recovery mode or continuation to the upside, or the downtrend will continue, or downtrend mood will continue in this upcoming week. And again, just to repeat that we have Powell speaking at the symposium, and we have Nvidia earnings. Those two events that have a strong impact on the market. Okay, so that's as far as the indices. Now Nvidia, let's take a quick look at the stock. Actually, I don't have it here on MT4. Let's see if I can bring it on MT5. Just a reminder, if you do trade stocks, MT5 has our larger correction of stocks. Let's see Nvidia. Here we go. So here we go. All this boom happened with Nvidia, taking Nasdaq to the super highs here. And as you could see here, we start really signaling the downtrend. What's the definition of the downtrend? When we start making a lower highs and lower lows, and it's been continuing, and we're currently below the 50-day moving average. So again, just to show you, the stock is a little bit weak, nothing alarming here, even though we came from the highs of 480 to currently trading around 432. That's almost $50 sell-off, but still on the year, the stock is super strong. And again, Wednesday, the 23rd, after the market, it will be reporting the earnings. Now, Tesla has been selling since it broke 240 level that I think we mentioned from over here. So we broke 240, we continue lower. The latest fundamental things that Tesla lowered the price of the cars for China. And China is also a key point there. China's economy is really limping, to say the least. And they are selling a lot of cars in China. So if economy is not that great, so definitely it is logical that number of cars sold will decrease. That's logic. So let's see what Tesla is doing next. We might continue lower. We are on Friday, we closed at 215.58. Some analysts predict the 208 or 200 could be the next checkpoint for support. Let's see what happens there. Okay, again, the stock is still up 75% on the year. Still, Tesla is having a strong year after the previous sell-off. So that's it with equities. Again, we said the indices are down. The stocks, of course, are down because they just pretty much the same thing. And let's move to commodities. We start with gold. Gold is below the key level of 1900. Let's take a look at the weekly chart here. What's really affecting the gold in a negative way? It's the strength of a dollar, and more than that, it's even the yields of the 10-year US bonds. So as long as we mentioned last week, as long as the yields are staying above 4, and we're currently about 420, above 420, it's not really good for gold. And guess what? Take a look at this magic chart here. As I just mentioned to you in oil, here the opposite thing is building up. Something that we mentioned, the dead cross when 50 moving average is moving below 200. Let's see how we are now. We still didn't cross the 50 moving average at 1933.93, and the 200 is at 1933.32. We are almost there, and if that happens, let's see, when was the last time? So we crossed to the upside back at the end of December. That's what the move up happened. And now we could be crossing to the downside, which also could trigger a continuation in sell-off. So definitely we'll be watching gold at these levels around 1900. We did break the previous low here from end of June. The low was 1892.87. We're about $3 below that. So that's gold. We spoke about oil. Oil, this technical could actually signal buying in oil. Let's see what happens there. Just to remind you, all this move up happened on the shortage on the supply and some fears of shortage. That's not really, demand is not really that huge, as China is having problems and we had recent sell-off in the market. So let's see what this move does to us. Will we continue retest the highs and continue higher, which we could, or the opposite will happen? So that's oil. Natural gas Our favorite natural gas that we've been talking pretty much every week. We're back below the 260. We had a nice try here. We hit 3, as we mentioned last week. We hit 301, and we came right back into this channel, and we are below the 200 moving average here. So, and we are about to test the 100 moving average. And guess what? Here also, similar to oil, the 50 is above the 200. So this principal idea of golden cross might kick in as well. We crossed below in October of last year. And take a look, the moment we zoom out, you could see, as I mentioned to you every week, and this is for new people, we've been channeling here for a very long time, between 215 and 260. We had few attempts to break out. We came to retest 3 that we had back in March, and we below 260 again. So definitely a lot of actions there. Accumulation is continuing, and just to mention again, the longer the accumulation, the stronger the impulse will be one way or another. So again, we could be finally breaking through. We need to break through 3 and start establishing a new support here. If not, we'll be shopping for the next support below the current levels. So that's natural gas. Platinum caught my attention here as well. We are playing with these levels here. As you could see, on the recent sell-off back at the end of June, we hit the level of 1204, and we've been testing this level a few times. We had a spike below, and we made a high. We came back, retested again, beginning of August, made a high again, and we are holding this 1204, and we trying to retest the 50 moving average here. So some traders might consider buying here, seeing that the 204 level is not being broken. So that could be a potential stop. And if you take a look at the weekly chart, accumulation is going for a while. Again, let's see what happens. Of course, it's following the gold, not 100%, but it is kind of following as the group of pressure metals commodities. So let's see what's next. But in any event, what caught my attention, this 1204 level is holding. So we might come back and retest it. Some might consider it a good buying point, or some might jump on it at these levels, taking the 1204 area as a potential stop. Okay, so let's mention the soft commodities, wheat and corn. We had a strong Friday after recent sell-off on wheat. Take a look. In one day, we almost recovered 3 days of losses. And that's a strong candle that might signal continuation to the upside. So we'll definitely be watching wheat on possible continuation. Just to remind you, there are a lot of issues on the supply side since the Russia-Ukraine war. I think Ukraine, the latest thing that I saw, Ukraine is trying to find the ways of shipping the grains different way, maybe through Poland or other places. So that's wheat. And corn, similar idea. We did break through previous support, and we right above it again. So also we had 3 consecutive sessions to the upside. We might see continuation to the upside here. So that's it with commodities. Let's move to Forex. We'll start with US dollar. As I mentioned, it's been strong. We spoke about it on a few angles. We said that if we are back above the trend line, we might continue. Then we set the 200 moving average, and this level around here, 1303, could be a next level. And we successfully, it looks like we're successfully building a new support here that played as a resistance in the past. We sold from here. So if we are holding here, and since again, I forgot to mention fundamentally, last week we had the FOMC meeting minutes, and based on what the Feds had to say, it looks like they still have an idea of more interest rate hikes. And the same picture, the same words, they're still on the course of lowering the inflation and softer, but the truth is there's still possibility of more increases coming up. Dollar rebuilding support here. So of course, all the currency pairs, the majors are selling. As we mentioned, Australian, New Zealand dollar. You have Euro dollar is, you remember 110 was the key level. We went through 109, and we currently holding this 108.50 level, which is also a strong technical level, and it is at 200 moving average currently. British pound is looking much stronger than the euro. We are holding this support here at 126.60. That was a resistance, became a support, confirmed to be a support. So we are holding. We're also in between 100 and the 50 moving average here. Now, we mentioned USD ZAR. If you remember, this 1915 level apparently is a resistance. We sold, even the dollar was strong. We did sell against the ZAR. So as of now, we do see that 1915 level is the strong resistance. So in order for this pair to go higher, we need to start closing above and establish the support. And if not, we might actually slide and test the averages or lower levels around here. Now, Japanese yen. As you know, I mentioned about it pretty much every week, and I said that at some point we will have a surprise from Bank of Japan. They will do something, and it looks like the last two sessions, yen is gaining some strength, even with the dollar, which was strong. And it looks like we are holding this 144.87. The previous resistance is holding as support, but any other pairs besides the dollar are experiencing some weakness against the Japanese yen. This is the Swiss franc Japanese yen. As I mentioned to you many times, we had two sessions. The second one was more intense, so we might be sliding to around 164 and retesting it. We had the double tap here, resistance before moving higher, so we might continue lower, retest it. If we start closing below, we might step lower. And just to remind you or mention to new people, 159.88, that's the level from 1979 that I mentioned a few weeks in a row. If we do come to this level, it's going to be very tricky because it's going to be a war there. And if we do break eventually this level, we might be sliding. Just to give you a big picture, it's a super strong move, a Swiss franc against Japanese yen. So there's a potential of moving lower here. So, but we'll take it one day at a time, and we're going to see first this level around 164, how the pair acts around there. Now, the rest of the pairs also weak against the yen in the past two sessions. Canadian, Australian, New Zealand. So we'll be continuing watching the Japanese yen. Also, Swiss franc will be watching. This strength that took a very long time, it might be also going into correction, as you could see here. Currencies are reacting to the upside against the Swiss franc. This is Euro dollar, Euro Swiss franc. You have CAD Swiss franc. Most of the currencies are reacting to the upside against the Swiss franc. So this could be a reversal for the Swiss franc to turn into weakness here, because this move took a very long time. Any pair you take against the Swiss franc, it was a very long uptrend for the Swiss franc. Take a look. Even dollar Swiss, it's slowly recovering here. And by the way, dollar Swiss came to a very serious level here. Current level, it's a strong level to watch. Okay, so again, just to put it all together, dollar continues to be strong with the Feds and everything else. Japanese yen, it looks like it's trying to recover. Swiss franc against all other pairs is looks like it's turning around and might be selling. And two more pairs is worth watching because they're the key levels: Euro, Swiss krona, Swedish krona. Sorry, make too many mistakes today. Euro against Swedish krona, we came to a very strong level here. We could be seeing resistance. As you could see here, we're at the highs. So it could be a reversal. Definitely worth watching. That's on Euro Swedish krona, and dollar Swedish krona, the same thing. Take a look. It went down very fast on the weakness of the dollar, and it took much longer to recover. And we are at this point right here. We are retesting it. The same thing, right? The high here was 10.9878, and this could be also a point of reversal, as Swedish krona was weak for a very long time. So again, Euro SEK and USD SEK definitely worth watching. So that's as far as Forex, and let's take a quick look at our Bitcoin. If you remember, I think last week we spoke when it was right in the middle of the channel. I remember mentioning it between 28,000 and 30,000. I know we just sold. I think it sold with the equity market. Sometimes it follows it and it goes against the dollar. So we are below all three moving averages. If you take a look technically, if we do continue lower, we might be retesting somewhere around 25,000. I mean, logic, right? 25,000 is kind of a psychological number. But again, I don't have much to say here. I don't know what's driving it. Like I said, sometimes it is sensitive to the equity market. Sometimes it's sensitive to a dollar. And maybe we'll be retesting. I guess the first thing is to watch technically. That's the low of this initial sell-off that went as low as 25,377. So that's the level here. Okay, so that's it pretty much with the technical analysis. Again, I encourage you to subscribe to our channels. If you're watching it on the YouTube channel, share, subscribe, click on the bell, share with your friends. Just to wrap it up in a few sentences, two major events. That's NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday and symposium that's happening this end of the week with Jerome Powell speaking. And of course, every word is being watched. Every move is being watched, and we might see some new things and new reactions on the market. The equities are continue selling. China under strong attention. The economy is not doing that great. Government is trying to inject things similar to what the Feds did with quantitative easing to save the economy. Dollar continues strength. Gold continues to be weak, and the currencies that we mentioned, commodities, we might see a nice recovery from the recent sell-off in the soft commodities. And I want to wish everyone a great weekend, whatever we still have a day. Enjoy your weekend, get some energy, get ready for the powerful and eventful week. And all the best. We should be back next week. Take care.